Imagine being told that your job is perfectly safe. Imagine being told that the glowing paint you're working with every day is harmless. Now imagine that years later, your teeth begin falling out, your jaw starts disintegrating, and when doctors examine your body, they discover that your bones are literally glowing in the dark. The most horrifying part, the company knew far more than it admitted. Tonight's story is about a group of young women who thought they'd found the perfect job and accidentally became human experiments in one of the most shocking corporate scandals in American history. They became known as the Radium Girls. At the beginning of the 20th century, the world was obsessed with a newly discovered element, radium, discovered in 1898 by Marie Curie and Pierre Curie. Scientists believed it was practically magical. It glowed, it generated heat, and nobody fully understood what prolonged exposure could do to the human body. Businesses rushed to capitalize on the excitement. Radium appeared in toothpaste. Radium appeared in cosmetics. Some people even drank radium-infused water because they believed it improved health and vitality. Today that sounds insane, but at the time, it was cutting-edge science. And that enthusiasm created an opportunity, one that would change hundreds of lives forever. By the 1910s and 1920s, watch manufacturers needed workers to paint tiny numbers on watch dials. The paint contained radium. The glowing effect was perfect for military watches and clocks. Factories hired mostly young women. Many were teenagers. For these women, the job felt like winning the lottery. The pay was excellent. The work seemed clean. And compared to factory labour, it appeared glamorous. Some workers even used the glowing paint for fun. They painted their fingernails, their teeth, their dresses. Before going dancing at night, imagine entering a dark room and literally glowing. People thought it was beautiful. They had no idea what was happening inside their bodies.
What?
Let's pause on that for a second. These young women weren't being reckless. They were doing exactly what they had been taught, because their supervisors repeatedly assured them the paint was safe. In fact, workers were encouraged to shape their paintbrushes using a technique called lip dip paint. Paint the dial. Repeat. Hundreds of times every day. Thousands of times every week. And every single time. They swallowed tiny amounts of radium, but nobody knew the consequences yet. Or maybe someone did. One worker began suffering strange symptoms. Her name was Molly Magia. At first it seemed minor. A toothache, then another. Dentists removed infected teeth. But the pain didn't stop. It got worse. Much worse. Soon parts of her jaw began breaking apart, literally crumbling. Doctors were horrified. No one had seen anything like it. And then came the discovery. When surgeons touched parts of her jawbone, pieces detached. The bone had become fragile and necrotic. It was dying, from the inside out. Soon she was dead. She was only 24 years old. At first, doctors suspected infection, then syphilis, then various rare diseases. But more women kept getting sick. Far too many. Far too young. And the symptoms were disturbingly similar. Broken bones, anemia, severe pain, rotting jaws, tumours, mysterious deaths. SFX heartbeat returns. And then investigators noticed something impossible. The women all worked at the same factories, the same paint, the same process, the same glowing substance. The pattern was undeniable. But here's the question that changed everything. If radium was causing the deaths, why weren't the scientists and managers getting sick too? Remember that question, because the answer would expose the scandal and reveal what the companies desperately wanted, hidden. The companies insisted there was no problem. They hired experts, commissioned studies, issued statements. Everything was fine, nothing to worry about. But evidence was beginning to emerge, and it revealed something shocking. The male scientists handling radium used protective equipment, lead screens, masks, tongs, special procedures, workers painting the watches. None of those protections. They were still instructed to place the brushes directly in their mouths. Again and again and again. The companies knew enough to protect themselves, but not enough apparently to protect their employees. Or perhaps they simply chose not to. Either way, the consequences were catastrophic. As researchers studied the victims, they made an astonishing discovery. Radium behaves similarly to calcium. The human body mistakes it for calcium. So when workers swallowed radium, their bones absorbed it. And once inside, it stayed there, continuing to emit radiation day after day, year after year. Yeah, think about that. The very thing that made the paint beautiful, the glow everyone admired, was silently destroying them from within. The glow wasn't magic, it was a warning. Several surviving workers decided to fight back. It wasn't easy. Many were gravely ill, some could barely walk, some were dying. Yet they took on powerful corporations with enormous resources. One of the most famous plaintiffs was Grace Fryer. She spent years trying to find legal representation. Many lawyers were afraid to challenge the companies, but eventually the women found allies, and the lawsuits began. The public was horrified. The details were impossible to ignore. Young women, dead and dying, factories denying responsibility, scientific evidence piling up. The case became national news, and the pressure mounted. Yet their suffering changed history. The Radium Girls helped establish stronger workplace safety standards. Their fight influenced labour protections, and their courage forced industries to take occupational hazards seriously. The laws protecting workers today owe something to those women. Women who simply showed up for work and trusted the people who employed them. Today, a glowing watch dial seems ordinary, a harmless object, something you barely notice. But hidden behind that faint glow is one of history's most haunting lessons. Sometimes the greatest dangers don't look dangerous at all. Sometimes they look beautiful. Sometimes they sparkle. Sometimes they glow. And sometimes they change the world. If you enjoyed this story and want more strange, dark, and unbelievable true events from history, subscribe to Wild Stories After Dark. Because sometimes the strangest stories are the ones that actually happened.